Hello, friends. Welcome to Liturgy today with Father Anthony Agnes. And this is a brief commentary on the liturgy of the day. It is not exhaustive, but paying attention to some particularities of the day's liturgy. So today we have the 6th of August, the Transfiguration of the Lord. What is striking about today's feast is that our lectionary, the missals, they give us three readings. Just like a Sunday, Sunday readings are three. The first reading, second reading, and gospel. In the liturgy, as you would know, three readings are reserved for solemnities. So each solemnity automatically carries three readings. But today's feast is a feast, and yet it has three readings. This is something that is special about the feast of the Lord. They are different from the feast of the other saints. Just a few days ago, July 25th, we had the feast of Saint James. If you check, only two readings were given. The first reading and the gospel. But when it comes to the feast of the Lord, usually there's a third reading, making three, like a solemnity. Why? Why? Because as you know, the calendar keeps changing. These feasts are tied to dates, and dates are not specific. Today it is a Thursday, can be a Wednesday, but tomorrow it could be a Sunday. So the feasts of the Lord, because they are for the Lord, and are anticipated even for Sundays. So much that if they should occur on a Sunday, then they are supposed to take precedence, they call it. So we have three readings. So if you are seeing three readings in your lectionary, your missal for today's feast, that is the reason. Because the church knows that 6th August can fall on a Sunday. And when it falls on a Sunday, because the feast for the Lord, of the Lord, it takes precedence, it comes first. So that feast should be celebrated. So already you have the three readings for the feast. Okay. Friends, you should also remember that having three readings for Sunday masses, something that is quite recent, obviously. It takes us back to Vatican II, Sacrosanctum Concilium, where the Council Fathers asked for more reading of the Word of God. So since Vatican II, Sunday readings were increased to three. Before that, there have been two readings. Actually, for the past 400 years, Sunday readings were just two. The first reading and the gospel. It is after Vatican II that we have three readings for Sunday masses. So technically, liturgically speaking, two readings are enough for any celebration. That is why even on Sundays, which is not encouraged though, the rubric say that if you have to beat down the readings, don't go beyond two. So though the liturgy says three readings for Sunday, in emergency cases, I don't know which could be the reason, but if there should be an emergency case, sometimes mass for the children, like for children, for instance, we are allowed for pastoral reading to reduce them to two instead of three. But you can't go beyond the two, because two is a minimum readings for every celebration of the liturgy. Okay. Now, friends, you see, we are calling today's feast a feast. But then you should also know that when we say feast in our liturgical understanding, it carries all the feast. So when we say today is a feast, it also means solemnity. It could also mean memorial. But then having solemnity, having feast, having memorial, something also that is quite recent. I mean, using the terms, It started in 1969 again with the Vatican II. It is since Vatican II that we started using the terms solemnity, feast, and the memorials. Obviously, you know that solemnities are the first, the highest. Then we come to feast, and then we come to memorials. But before Vatican II, these names didn't exist that way. What today we call solemnities, before Vatican II were called first-class feast. And then what we are calling today feast were called second-class feast. And what today we are calling memorials were called third-class feast. If you go beyond that, the names were quite different, because this is 1960s, when the names were given first class, second class, third class. If you go beyond the 60s, going to the 18th century, the 19th century, the names were quite different. Maybe some other time we can look into that. But before we had first class feast, second class feast, we had names like doubles and simples. Today we say solemnity, we say feast, we say memorials. But 200 years ago, these words did not exist. They were called doubles and simples. Something like a first class double, a second class double. Interesting. Greater double, We have semi double, we have simple. But now we are using the words solemnity, feast, and memorials. This is just some kind of liturgical history. So today's feast of the Lord, because it's of the Lord and could fall on a Sunday, we have three readings. But we are not supposed to use the three readings because it is not a Sunday. So the celebration is affected also by the day it falls on. So today we have Feast of the Lord with three readings, but then because it's a weekday, we reduce to one. Take any of the two readings, the first or second, and then the gospel. But then when they fall on a Sunday and they take precedence of the Sunday celebration, then the three readings are used. Okay, so this is the liturgy today on the feast of the Transfiguration of the Lord. I hope you learned something new. If you have some doubts, some questions, you could always let us have them, and then we shall give you some more insight. God bless you, and please pray for me.